What if I told you that every single battle you've ever lost wasn't actually lost because of what happened to you, but because of what happened inside your mind? Think about it for a moment. That rejection that left you questioning your worth for months. That business failure that made you want to give up on your dreams entirely. That betrayal from someone you trusted that shattered your faith in people. That moment when you looked in the mirror and felt like a complete failure. The real enemy wasn't the person who rejected you. It wasn't the market that crushed your business. It wasn't even the friend who stabbed you in the back. The real enemy was the voice in your head that whispered, "See? I told you that you weren't good enough. I told you that you should have never tried. I told you that you're destined to fail." But here's what the ancient Stoics discovered over 2,000 years ago. Men who faced slavery, exile, war, political persecution, and death itself. And what I'm about to share with you today, your mind is either your greatest weakness or your most powerful weapon. And the choice is entirely, completely, absolutely yours. You see, we live in a world where difficulties aren't just possible, they're guaranteed. You will face loss that breaks your heart. You will face betrayal that shakes your faith in humanity. You will face failures that make you question everything you believe about yourself. You will face moments where you feel powerless, overwhelmed, and ready to surrender. But what separates those who collapse under the pressure, who let life beat them down and never get back up, from those who rise stronger, sharper, and completely unstoppable? It's not talent, it's not luck, it's not even circumstances, it's mindset. It's the ability to master your thoughts so that pain doesn't control you. Marcus Aurelius, the most powerful man in the Roman Empire, wrote these words while leading his armies through brutal campaigns. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. This man understood something that most people never grasp. External events have no power over you unless you give them that power. I'm about to give you 9 practical battle-tested strategies, not feel-good fluff that sounds nice, but vanishes when life gets hard, but real techniques that the Stoics used to survive and thrive through the worst possible circumstances. These aren't just philosophical concepts. They're practical tools you can implement starting today. But I need something from you first. This isn't passive entertainment. This is transformation. If you're ready to unlock an unstoppable mindset that no obstacle can break, smash that like button right now, subscribe if you haven't already, and drop this commitment in the comments. My mindset is my greatest weapon. Because what we're diving into today isn't just going to change how you think, it's going to change how you live. Strategy 1. The 5-minute expert rule. Let me ask you something, and I want you to really think about this. When was the last time you felt truly, genuinely prepared for a major challenge in your life? Most people, and I mean the vast majority, live in a state of constant unpreparedness. They wait for the perfect moment to start learning, improving, or growing. They tell themselves, when I have more time, I'll start reading. When things calm down, I'll work on myself. When I'm not so busy, I'll focus on personal development. But here's the brutal truth. The perfect moment never comes. Time doesn't magically appear. Life doesn't suddenly become less busy. And while you're waiting for ideal conditions, opportunities pass you by, challenges overwhelm you, and obstacles that could have been stepping stones become walls that stop you cold. Marcus Aurelius, who ruled an empire while fighting wars and dealing with plagues, wrote, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be one." Think about that. The most powerful man in the world didn't have time to waste on hypotheticals. He understood that wisdom isn't built in dramatic moments. It's built daily through small, consistent actions. Here's your first weapon. Become a 5-minute expert every single day. Just 5 minutes. That's all. Not an hour, not 30 minutes. 5 minutes of intentional, focused growth every single day. Read one page from a book that challenges you. Listen to a 5-minute podcast on resilience. Watch a short video about a skill you want to develop. Practice something small that pushes you outside your comfort zone. But 5 minutes is nothing, you might think. How can 5 minutes possibly make a difference? Here's how. Remember that ancient Chinese proverb about water dripping on stone? One drop of water hitting a rock does absolutely nothing. You could watch it happen and laugh at how insignificant it seems. But that same drop, falling consistently in the same spot, day after day, week after week, month after month, eventually carves through solid granite. It shapes mountains. It creates valleys. Your mind works exactly the same way. 5 minutes of intentional growth daily builds mental muscle that no obstacle can break. It creates neural pathways that become highways of strength, wisdom, and resilience. Let's make this completely practical. If you're struggling with fear of failure, spend 5 minutes reading about how Michael Jordan got cut from his high school basketball team and used that rejection as fuel to become the greatest basketball player of all time. If you're dealing with overwhelming stress, spend 5 minutes practicing this simple Stoic reflection. What is completely within my control right now, and what is completely outside my control? Then focus only on what you can control. If you're battling self-doubt, spend 5 minutes studying how Colonel Sanders was rejected 1,009 times before someone finally said yes to his chicken recipe. If you're struggling with anger, spend 5 minutes learning how Nelson Mandela forgave his captors and turned 27 years of imprisonment into the foundation for leading an entire nation. The beauty of this approach is that it's impossible to make excuses. You can't say you don't have 5 minutes. You spend more than 5 minutes scrolling through social media without even thinking about it. You can find 5 minutes. But here's what happens when you commit to this. Your brain starts to change. Every challenge you face, your mind is already prepared because you've been feeding it wisdom, strength, and perspective daily. You've been sharpening it like a sword. When obstacles come, and they will come, your mind doesn't panic. It reaches into this reservoir of knowledge and experience you've been building and finds solutions. Seneca, who survived political exile and near-death experiences, said, "As long as you live, keep learning how to live." That means growth never ends. Even when you think you've mastered something, there's always a new angle, a deeper level, a sharper edge to refine. The 5-minute expert rule means you never stop becoming more resilient, more skilled, more prepared for whatever life throws at you. And the compound effect of this daily practice? It's absolutely unstoppable. Comment below with, "Every day I grow stronger." Strategy 2. Start a rejection collection. Okay, this next one is going to sound absolutely crazy when you first hear it, but I need you to stay with me because this could be the most life-changing strategy in this entire video. Epictetus. And here's a man who knew something about overcoming obstacles. Was born a slave in the Roman Empire. He was literally owned by another human being. His leg was broken by his master and never properly healed, leaving him permanently disabled. By every measure, life had dealt him the worst possible hand, but this man, who had every reason to be bitter, who had every excuse to give up, became one of the greatest philosophers in human history. And he said something that cuts straight to the heart of human fear. If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. Translation: stop running from rejection like it's poison. Start collecting it like it's treasure. Here's what I mean, and this is going to challenge everything you've been taught about success. Instead of avoiding situations where you might get rejected, Deliberately seek them out. Make rejection your goal. Turn it into a game. Ask for that discount at the store, knowing they'll probably say no. Apply for that job you think is way out of your league. Start that conversation you've been avoiding because you're afraid of how it might go. Ask that person out even though you're convinced they'll reject you. And every single time someone says no, every time you get turned down, dismissed or rejected, celebrate it. Literally celebrate. Add it to your rejection collection. Make it a badge of honor. But why would I do that? Why would I deliberately put myself through pain? Because your brain has been lying to you your entire life. It's been telling you that rejection means you're not good enough, that no equals failure, that being turned down is proof that you should never have tried in the first place. But rejection doesn't mean any of those things. Rejection just means someone said no. That's it. End of story. Everything else, all that shame, embarrassment, self-doubt, that's just a story your mind adds to a simple fact. Think about this. Every single successful person you admire has a massive collection of rejections. Walt Disney was told he lacked imagination and had no good ideas. Oprah Winfrey was fired from her first television job for being too emotionally invested. Stephen King's first novel was rejected 30 times before it was published. The difference between them and people who gave up? They kept collecting rejections until they found their breakthrough. When you start deliberately collecting rejections, something magical happens in your brain. You begin to realize that no doesn't kill you. It doesn't destroy you. It doesn't prove you're worthless. Instead, it teaches you. It makes you stronger. It shows you that you're still in the arena, still fighting, still growing, while others are sitting on the sidelines, afraid to even try. Let's make this super practical. Start small. Ask for a discount somewhere you normally wouldn't. The worst they can say is no, and when they do, you've just added to your collection. Apply for an opportunity that seems slightly out of reach. When they turn you down, celebrate. You just proved to yourself that rejection can't hurt you. As you build this collection, something incredible happens. Your relationship with rejection completely transforms. Your brain stops associating it with pain and starts associating it with courage, growth, and progress. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." Every rejection you receive is actually redirecting you toward what is right for you, what is aligned with your path. It's eliminating options that weren't meant for you anyway and pushing you toward the breakthrough that's waiting. Most people never reach their potential because they quit after the first no. But you're going to collect those no's like trophies because you understand that each rejection is proof that you're still trying, still growing, still refusing to let fear control your life. The unstoppable mindset comes from knowing that rejection isn't the end of the road. It's just another step on the path. And the more steps you take, the closer you move toward the breakthrough that most people never reach. Strategy 3. Master strategic laziness. Wait, did I just say laziness? Am I really about to teach you how to be lazy as a strategy for becoming unstoppable? Absolutely. But not the kind of laziness you're thinking of. Not the destructive, procrastinating, avoid all responsibility kind of laziness. I'm talking about something the Stoics understood deeply, the art of strategic energy conservation. Seneca, who navigated the dangerous political waters of Roman society and survived multiple attempts on his life, wrote, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." Here's what he meant. Most people don't burn out because life is too hard. They burn out because they waste their energy on the wrong battles. They argue with strangers on the internet. They stress about things completely outside their control. They fight every small fight that comes their way. They exhaust themselves on meaningless drama, petty conflicts, and worthless worries. And then, when a real challenge appears, something that actually matters, something that could change their life, they have nothing left. They're already depleted, scattered, and overwhelmed. Strategic laziness means this: deliberately refuse to waste your precious energy on battles that don't matter. Conserve your power for the fights that will actually shape your future. Think about a master chess player. They don't react to every move their opponent makes with equal intensity. They don't waste mental energy on insignificant exchanges. They wait. They observe. They conserve their focus for the moves that will determine the outcome of the game. That's strategic laziness in action. You become incredibly selective about what deserves your energy. Someone insults you online. Strategic laziness says, don't engage, don't defend yourself, don't waste energy proving them wrong. Silence is often the most powerful response. People try to drag you into pointless gossip or drama. Strategic laziness says, walk away. Your energy is too valuable to spend on conversations that don't elevate you or anyone else. Your mind keeps replaying that embarrassing moment from 3 years ago, analyzing it for the 1,000th time. Strategic laziness says, cut it off. Stop feeding that mental loop. Focus on what you can control today. A coworker constantly complains but never wants solutions. Strategic laziness says, don't try to fix them. Don't drain yourself trying to change someone who doesn't want to change. Here's the deeper principle. Energy is your most valuable resource. More valuable than time, more valuable than money. Because without energy, you can't effectively use your time or earn your money. Think about a lion in the African savanna. It doesn't chase every gazelle that runs by. It doesn't waste energy on every movement in the bushes. It waits, it conserves, it studies. And when the right moment comes, when the conditions are perfect, it explodes with devastating, unstoppable force. That's you now. You're not scattered and exhausted anymore. You're not fighting 10 different battles and losing all of them. You're focused, sharp, and ready to strike with full force where it actually matters. In practical terms, this means asking yourself these questions daily. Does this situation deserve my energy? Will engaging with this move me closer to my goals or further away? Is this worth my peace of mind? What would happen if I just didn't react to this? Marcus Aurelius constantly reminded himself, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Strategic laziness is how you exercise that power. You choose where your energy flows, and that choice determines your strength. When you master strategic laziness, obstacles stop overwhelming you because you're no longer drained by the noise of life. You remain centered, focused, and powerful. And when something truly important requires your attention, you have the full force of your energy ready to deploy. Type this powerful statement below. I protect my energy for what matters. Strategy 4. Create your personal board of directors. Picture this scenario. A major corporation is about to make a decision that could make or break the company. The stakes are enormous. One wrong choice could bankrupt them. One right choice could catapult them to incredible success. What does that company do? They convene their board of directors, the wisest, most experienced, most successful people they can find. They gather different perspectives, diverse expertise, and proven wisdom to guide their decision. Now imagine trying to run that same company with no advisors, no mentors, no trusted voices to guide you. Just you, alone in a room, making life-altering decisions based only on your own limited perspective and experience. That company would crash and burn within months. Yet this is exactly how most people run their lives. Completely alone, with no guidance system, no counsel of wisdom to turn to when facing difficult decisions. Here's your fourth strategy. Create your personal board of directors. These aren't literal people sitting around a conference table in your living room. These are carefully chosen voices of wisdom, some living, some dead, some you've met, some you never will, that you can mentally consult when life throws its hardest challenges at you. Marcus Aurelius did exactly this. In his meditations, he constantly wrote about the people he admired and what he learned from them. He had mental advisors guiding him through every decision. His adoptive father, Antoninus Pius, taught him patience and humility. His philosophy teacher, Junius Rusticus, showed him how to think clearly under pressure. His mother, Domitia Lucilla, exemplified grace and strength in adversity. This was his personal board of directors, a collection of wisdom he could access whenever he faced uncertainty, fear, or difficult choices. Here's how you build your own board. First, choose 5 to 7 people you deeply admire. They can be historical figures, contemporary leaders, philosophers, athletes, entrepreneurs, family members, teachers, anyone whose character, achievements, or wisdom inspires you. For each person, write down the specific quality or expertise they represent. For example, Marcus Aurelius for discipline and rational thinking, Maya Angelou for resilience and finding beauty in struggle, Benjamin Franklin for practical wisdom and continuous learning, your grandmother for unconditional love and family values, Elon Musk for bold vision and persistence through failure, Mother Teresa for compassion and service to others. Next, when you face a challenge, pause and ask, if I could sit down with my board of directors right now, what would each of them tell me? Let's make this practical. Say you're dealing with a difficult person at work who constantly undermines you. Instead of reacting emotionally or letting it destroy your peace, ask what Marcus Aurelius would advise. Focus on your own behavior, not theirs. You can't control their actions, only your response. Ask what Maya Angelou would suggest. When people show you who they are, believe them. Don't waste energy trying to change them. Ask what your wise grandmother would say. Kill them with kindness, honey. Your character is more important than winning any argument. This practice pulls you out of emotional chaos and into clarity. Instead of drowning in your own limited perspective, especially when you're hurt, angry, or scared, you access the wisdom of people who faced similar challenges and overcame them. Why is this so powerful for building an unstoppable mindset? Because it prevents you from making decisions based purely on emotion or fear. When you're in pain, your perspective narrows. You can only see the immediate hurt, the immediate threat, the immediate problem. But when you bring in your board of directors, you gain multiple angles of vision. You see solutions you couldn't see before. Epictetus, who transformed slavery into wisdom, taught, "Seek not that the things which happen should happen as you wish, but wish the things which happen to be as they are, and you will have a tranquil flow of life." Your personal board helps you embody this wisdom by constantly reminding you of perspectives larger than your current emotional state. This isn't about imitation. It's about inspiration. You're not trying to become Marcus Aurelius or Maya Angelou. You're drawing from their strength to become the best version of yourself. The unstoppable mindset doesn't mean you never fall down. It means you never stay down. And with a board of directors guiding you, you'll always rise again with wisdom leading the way. Write this commitment below. I choose wisdom to guide my life. Strategy 5. Start a curiosity jar. Seneca, who survived political persecution, financial ruin, and eventual forced suicide, wrote something that holds the key to mental invincibility. As long as you live, keep learning how to live. These words aren't just philosophical poetry, they're a battle strategy for the mind. Because here's what Seneca understood that most people miss. The moment you stop being curious, the moment you stop asking questions, The moment you think you have life figured out, that's the moment you become vulnerable to being broken by obstacles. Think about children for a moment. Watch a 5-year-old encounter a problem. They fall down, they get hurt, but they bounce back almost immediately. Why? Because they're endlessly curious. They don't dwell on the pain. They're already investigating the world again, asking what if, and why, and how come. But something happens as we get older. We start accepting things as they are. We stop challenging our assumptions. We let obstacles defeat us because we never asked the most powerful question, what can I learn from this? Here's your 5th weapon. Create a curiosity jar. This is beautifully simple, but incredibly powerful. Keep a jar, a notebook, or a note on your phone where you write down every question that pops into your mind throughout the day. Not just the smart questions or the important ones, all of them. Questions like, why do I always react with anger when someone interrupts me? What would happen if I stopped complaining for an entire month? How did successful people handle their biggest failures? Why am I afraid of this particular situation? What belief am I holding that might not be true? How would someone I admire approach this problem? What's the worst that could realistically happen, and how would I handle it? What opportunities might be hiding in this obstacle? Then, and this is crucial, commit to exploring one question each week. Research it, reflect on it, test it in your own life. Why is this curiosity jar so powerful for building an unstoppable mindset? Because it transforms every obstacle from a dead end into an investigation. Instead of being crushed by challenges, you become fascinated by them. Got rejected for a job? Instead of thinking, I'm a failure, you ask, what specific skills can I develop to become irresistible to employers? The rejection becomes data, not a verdict on your worth. Feeling overwhelmed by stress. Instead of thinking, I can't handle this, you ask, what are the most effective stress management techniques used by high performers? The stress becomes a research project, not a prison sentence. Had your heart broken? Instead of thinking, I'll never love again, you ask, what can this teach me about building stronger, healthier relationships? The pain becomes education, not just suffering. This shift is everything. Curiosity is the antidote to victimhood. When you're curious, you can't stay stuck because you're constantly exploring new possibilities, new angles, new solutions. The Stoics were masters of this. Epictetus constantly pushed his students with challenges disguised as statements. What upsets people is not things themselves, but their judgments about these things. He wasn't just sharing wisdom, he was asking them to investigate their own reactions, to get curious about why they suffered. Marcus Aurelius filled his journal with questions to himself. Why am I disturbed by this? What would perfect wisdom do in this situation? How can I use this difficulty to become stronger? Let's make this completely practical. Start your curiosity jar today. For the next week, every time you feel stuck, frustrated, or defeated, instead of getting lost in those emotions, write down a question about the situation. Then, at the end of the week, pick the most intriguing question and spend time exploring it. Maybe you'll read an article, watch a video, ask someone for their perspective, or simply reflect deeply on it. The key is to turn every challenge into an opportunity for discovery. Over time, you'll notice something incredible happening. Your brain starts automatically looking for lessons, opportunities, and growth in every difficult situation. Pain becomes temporary, but the wisdom you gain from investigating it lasts forever. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, look beneath the surface. Let not the special quality of anything escape you. Your curiosity jar is how you look beneath the surface, how you find hidden strength in every obstacle, how you uncover insights that most people never see because they're too busy complaining or giving up. Post this mindset shift below. Curiosity makes me unbreakable. Strategy 6. Practice productive procrastination. Let's be brutally honest about something. You procrastinate. I procrastinate. Every successful person you admire procrastinates. It's part of being human. The question isn't whether you'll procrastinate. The question is whether you'll let procrastination destroy you or whether you'll turn it into a weapon for growth. Seneca, despite being one of history's greatest philosophers and one of Rome's most successful statesmen, admitted his own struggles with delay. While we are postponing, life speeds by. But here's what most people miss. Seneca didn't beat himself up about procrastination. He found ways to make it productive. And so can you. Welcome to the art of productive procrastination. Here's how it works. When you don't feel like working on your biggest, most challenging task, the one that requires deep focus, creativity, or emotional energy, instead of collapsing into guilt and doing nothing at all, you redirect that procrastination energy toward another useful activity. Let's say you need to write an important presentation for work, but every time you sit down to do it, your brain rebels. Traditional procrastination means you end up scrolling social media for 3 hours, watching Netflix, or reorganizing your sock drawer for the 5th time. Productive procrastination means you use that same avoidance energy to organize your research materials for the presentation. Clean and organize your workspace so you'll be more focused later. Read articles related to your presentation topic. Practice a skill that will make you better at presenting. Exercise to boost your mental clarity. Prepare healthy meals so you won't have to think about food later. Why does this build an unstoppable mindset? Because it breaks the destructive cycle that kills most people's progress. Here's the typical pattern. You need to do something important. You procrastinate. You feel guilty about procrastinating. The guilt makes you feel worse about yourself. Feeling worse makes the original task seem even harder. So, you procrastinate more. The cycle spirals into paralysis. Productive procrastination shatters this cycle. Instead of associating procrastination with failure and guilt, you begin to see it as another form of progress. Your brain stops fighting against you and starts working with you. Let me give you some real examples. Don't feel like working on your business plan. Spend that time organizing your financial documents or researching your target market. Can't face making those difficult phone calls? Use that energy to prepare scripts or research the people you need to call. Avoiding exercise? Do some light stretching or organize your workout clothes. Procrastinating on learning a new skill? Watch tutorial videos or read about the basics. The key is this: never let procrastination become complete inactivity. Always redirect it towards something that moves you forward, even if it's not the main thing you should be doing. Marcus Aurelius constantly reminded himself to focus on action. Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. Productive procrastination allows you to keep being, keep acting, keep moving forward even when you don't feel like facing your biggest challenges. Here's the psychology behind why this works. Your brain often procrastinates because the task feels too overwhelming, too perfect, or too high stakes. But when you're doing something related but less intimidating, you're still building momentum. You're still engaging with the general area of your goal. Often, this gentle engagement is exactly what you need to ease into the main task. After organizing your research materials, you might find yourself naturally transitioning into actually working on the presentation. After cleaning your workspace, you might discover you're ready to focus. But even if you don't transition to the main task that day, you've still made progress. You've still moved forward. You've still maintained momentum instead of letting it die completely. This approach rewires your relationship with resistance. Instead of seeing procrastination as proof that you're lazy or undisciplined, you start seeing it as your brain's way of asking for a different approach to progress. The result: you never stop moving completely. You never allow obstacles or resistance to freeze you entirely. You always find a way to channel your energy toward growth, even when it's not the growth you originally planned. Leave this transformation in the comments. I turn procrastination into progress. Strategy 7. Become a micro-celebrity. Marcus Aurelius, while juggling the responsibilities of running an empire, reminded himself, do not waste the remainder of your life in thoughts about others when you do not refer your thoughts to some object of common utility. What he meant was this: don't live passively in the shadows. Stand out by serving others. Make yourself indispensable through the value you provide. Most people dream of fame, recognition, and influence, but they think it requires becoming a global superstar. They believe they need millions of followers, worldwide recognition, or massive platforms to make an impact. But here's what the Stoics understood. Real influence starts small and grows through consistency, authenticity, and genuine service to others. Strategy number 7. Become a micro-celebrity in your field. Now, before you roll your eyes and think this is about ego or self-promotion, let me be clear. This isn't about chasing fame or feeding your vanity. This is about becoming so consistently valuable, so reliably helpful, so genuinely skilled in your area that people naturally turn to you for guidance, insight, and solutions. Think about your workplace, your community, your industry, or even your friend group. In every environment, there are certain people others trust for advice. They might not be world famous, but within their circle, they're respected and sought after. That's micro-celebrity status. How do you achieve it? Through 3 fundamental principles: consistency, authenticity, and service. Consistency means showing up regularly with value, not just when you feel like it, not just when it's convenient, not just when you're motivated, but consistently, reliably, predictably. If you're in marketing, become the person who always shares the most useful marketing insights. If you're in fitness, become the person who consistently provides practical health advice. If you're in any field at all, become known for consistently delivering value related to that field. Authenticity means being genuinely yourself while providing this value. Don't try to imitate someone else's style or approach. People can sense authenticity from miles away, and they're drawn to it. Share your real experiences, your actual struggles, your honest insights. Vulnerability combined with expertise is incredibly powerful. Service means your primary focus is helping others, not promoting yourself. When you genuinely care about solving problems and adding value to people's lives, recognition follows naturally. You don't have to chase it, it chases you. Why does this build an unstoppable mindset? Because when you become a micro-celebrity, you create several psychological advantages. First, you develop accountability to a higher standard. When people look to you for guidance, you can't allow yourself to collapse under pressure. You hold yourself to higher standards because others are watching, learning, and drawing strength from your example. Second, you stop living just for yourself. You start living as an example, and that transforms how you handle obstacles. When challenges arise, you don't just think, how does this affect me? You think, what can I learn from this that will help others? How can I handle this in a way that demonstrates resilience? Third, you build a reputation that opens doors. When opportunities arise, people think of you. When problems need solving, your name comes up. You become the go-to person in your area of expertise. Let's make this practical. Start by choosing one area where you want to build micro-celebrity status. It could be your professional field, a hobby you're passionate about, a skill you've developed, or even a life challenge you've overcome. Then begin consistently sharing valuable content related to that area. Write helpful posts on social media. Share insights in professional groups. Offer advice to colleagues or friends. Create simple content that solves real problems. Lead by example in your daily behavior. For instance, if you've overcome anxiety, start sharing practical techniques that helped you. If you're good at time management, share your systems. If you've built a successful side business, share the lessons you learned. The key is consistency over perfection. You don't need to be the world's greatest expert. You just need to be consistently helpful and authentic in your chosen area. Epictetus taught, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it." When you embody excellence, resilience, and value creation, people notice. You don't have to announce it or promote yourself aggressively. Your actions speak louder than any marketing campaign. Over time, something incredible happens. Your reputation becomes a source of strength. When obstacles hit you, you don't just have your own resources to draw from. You have the trust, respect, and support of people who see you as a leader in your field. This creates a powerful feedback loop. The higher standard you maintain, the stronger you become. The stronger you become, the more people trust you. The more people trust you, the more opportunities and support come your way. Strategy 8. Use the 2% rule. Seneca wrote something that explains why most people never achieve their potential. It is not because things are difficult that we do not dare. It is because we do not dare that things are difficult. Most people never take action on their dreams because they think they need to make massive changes all at once. They look at successful people and think, "I need to completely transform my life overnight to get where they are." So they set impossible goals. I'm going to work out 2 hours every day starting tomorrow. I'm going to wake up at 5 a.m. and meditate for an hour. I'm going to completely change my career and become a millionaire this year. What happens? They burn out within a week, feel like failures, and give up entirely. The all-or-nothing approach destroys more dreams than any external obstacle ever could. Here's your 8th strategy, the 2% rule. Instead of trying to leap entire mountains in single bounds, commit to improving just 2% in whatever challenge you're facing. Scared of public speaking? Don't aim to become the next Tony Robbins overnight. Just aim to speak 2% longer than last time, or with 2% more confidence, or to 2% more people. Want to build discipline? Don't try to become a Navy SEAL in a week. Just wake up 2% earlier than yesterday, or add 2% more effort to your workout, or stick to your plan 2% more consistently. Struggling with a skill? Don't expect mastery in a month. Just aim to be 2% better at it than you were yesterday. Why is the 2% rule so powerful? Because it bypasses the psychological resistance that kills most efforts at change. Your brain is designed to resist dramatic shifts. They trigger fear, overwhelm, and the feeling that you're in danger. But 2% improvements fly under the radar of your mental resistance system. More importantly, 2% improvements compound. Let's do the math. If you improve by just 2% every single day for a year, you don't end up 2% better. You end up nearly 1,400% better. That's the power of compound growth. The Stoics understood this principle deeply. Marcus Aurelius didn't expect to achieve perfect wisdom in dramatic moments. He wrote daily reminders to himself, made small adjustments, practiced tiny improvements in his thinking and behavior. In his meditations, you can see him working on himself 2% at a time. Today, I will be mindful of my anger. Tomorrow, I will practice more patience with difficult people. I will spend a few more minutes in reflection before reacting. Epictetus taught his students the same approach. Don't try to become perfectly virtuous overnight. Practice virtue in small, manageable steps. Master one small area before moving to the next. Let's make this completely practical. Choose one area of your life where you want to see improvement. Now, instead of creating a dramatic transformation plan, ask yourself, what would 2% better look like in this area? If you want to be more confident, make 2% more eye contact in conversations. Speak 2% louder. Stand 2% straighter. If you want to be more productive, start your workday 2% earlier. Take 2% fewer unnecessary breaks. Focus 2% longer on important tasks. If you want better relationships, listen 2% more actively. Show appreciation 2% more often. Be 2% more present when spending time with loved ones. The beauty of 2% is that it's impossible to fail. Even if you only achieve half of your 2% goal, you're still making progress. Even if you miss a day, you can easily get back on track because the commitment is so manageable. Here's what happens over time. Your brain starts to trust your commitments because you consistently keep them. Your confidence grows because you're constantly proving to yourself that you can improve. Your momentum builds because you never completely stop moving forward. Before you know it, those tiny 2% improvements have created massive changes in your life. But because the changes happened gradually, they feel sustainable and natural, not forced or overwhelming. Think of turning a massive ship at sea. You can't spin it 180 degrees instantly. The force required would tear it apart. But adjust the wheel by just 2%, and over miles of ocean, the ship ends up in a completely different destination. That's your life with the 2% rule. Small adjustments, applied consistently, leading to extraordinary destinations. The unstoppable mindset isn't about making dramatic leaps. It's about refusing to ever stop moving forward, even if the steps are tiny, because tiny steps, taken consistently, eventually cover any distance. Strategy 9. Embrace randomized learning. Marcus Aurelius wrote something that reveals a secret weapon of mental resilience. To love only what happens, what was destined, no greater harmony. On the surface, this might seem like passive acceptance, but Aurelius was actually describing something much more powerful: the ability to find value, wisdom, and growth in unexpected places, including randomness itself. Most people's learning follows predictable patterns. They read books in their field. They consume information that confirms what they already believe. They stick to subjects they already enjoy. They create comfortable intellectual bubbles that feel safe, but ultimately make them brittle when unexpected challenges arise. Your final strategy: practice randomized learning. This means deliberately exposing yourself to knowledge from completely unexpected sources, ideas that challenge your assumptions, and perspectives that come from entirely different worlds than your own. Why is this crucial for an unstoppable mindset? Because obstacles rarely come in forms you expect. The solution to a business problem might come from studying biology. The key to overcoming a personal struggle might be hidden in ancient philosophy. The breakthrough you need in your career might be waiting in a conversation with someone from a completely different industry. When you limit your learning to familiar territories, you limit your problem-solving capabilities. But when you fill your mind with diverse inputs from unexpected sources, you build mental flexibility that can approach any challenge from multiple angles. Here's how to implement randomized learning. Once a week, deliberately consume knowledge from a source you would never normally choose. If you're in business, read about art theory or marine biology. If you're in science, explore poetry or ancient history. If you focus on practical skills, Dive into philosophy or psychology. If you love self-help, challenge yourself with fiction or biography. Ask people from completely different backgrounds how they see the world. A farmer might teach you something profound about patience and seasons. A musician might show you new ways to think about rhythm and flow in your own work. A child might remind you of curiosity you've forgotten. Let me give you some real examples of how this works. Steve Jobs famously credited a calligraphy class, something completely unrelated to technology, with inspiring the beautiful typography that became a hallmark of Apple products. Many breakthrough innovations come from applying insights from one field to problems in completely different fields. Velcro was invented by studying how burrs stick to clothing. The structure of benzene was discovered through a dream about a snake eating its own tail. The Wright brothers weren't formally trained aeronautical engineers. They were bicycle mechanics who applied their understanding of balance and mechanics to the problem of flight.